to start off with, I wanted to say it was actually really nice, and it was great to have you at our show
You're
with the
welcome.
Absu and the Ancient guys, and you had some very kind words to share about that afterwards. It's a shame we didn't get much of a chance to actually hang out then. You already know what the tours are like, man. But it was really awesome to have you there, and then also see some really nice feedback from you afterwards as well. So just wanted to say thank you for that.
Uh, yeah, the package was really awesome. You guys and Absu and Ancient. It's the kind of bands who bring me back 30 years back in time. That was really an awesome gig.
I love to hear that, man. So,
Uh,
speaking of which, 30
yeah,
years in time, I really want to
yeah,
kind of, because you're kind of one of the OGs of the Belgian scene. So, I kind of want to actually go back to
yeah.
perhaps maybe where you first started. And obviously, if I'm not mistaken, that was with Morbid Death back in 1987, I think, where you guys formed.
Exactly, exactly. My first band was Morbid Death in '87. We have released with this band. I have released two demos and one rehearsing tape from '87 to 1990. Yeah, exactly. Then after the band changed name, turned to Blaspherian, but I was not in the band anymore when they changed the name. And
Mhm.
a few years later, I started Enthroned with the leader of Morbid Death, Cernernos.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, that's all the things has gone.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. What a crazy time. I mean, I actually wanted to maybe get into a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
what can you tell me? Like, if you reminisce on that time, like paint me a picture. What was that actually like for you? Like starting those early projects in late 70s, sorry, in late 80s in Belgium.
Yeah. What I like at the time, it was the relationship between the underground bands. There were not that rock star attitude at all, or everything were cool, everything were friendly. So we share the same music, we share the same passion, the same conviction for metal. That's really important. And nowadays it's a bit lost. I don't like this time with internet shit and all the influencers and all.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
prefer the old time of tape trading, receiving demo tape, receiving EPs, starting to have a first album, starting to have a record deal with a underground label. Was much better at the time for all those things. And everything is all those times are totally gone today, and it's very sad. I really don't understand how works the scene nowadays with internet shit, uh, music platforms and all. I prefer to keep the old tradition alive with the listening vinyl, CD, and tapes. I will never change for this. Something very, very important to keep. The real physical recording product, something important.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, man. I mean, for the record, obviously for myself, I feel like I kind of, like that is relatable to me, especially having grown up on metal in the background that I did in Iran, where it was literally
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you didn't
And
know
even
anyone. This was kind of before internet really took off as well. So it was a case of, sorry, my cat's like totally all over me.
mine too.
uh,
Mine is there too.
yeah.
Even the relationship between the bands are not the same anymore. This is that kind
Mm.
of competition that there never been any competition back in the days. It was pure passion but not competition.
I think you make such a good point, and I'm gonna point to the first thing is that back in the days, you didn't have numbers. So what do I mean by
Exactly.
that? You didn't
Exactly.
have like, oh, so such and such has got this many Spotify streams, we have this many,
Yeah, yeah.
or any of that kind of stuff. I think that just having exact numbers to look at, oh, how much is so and so band charging, how many tickets they sold,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that
That's it.
probably plays a big part into that for sure.
And we even didn't care about the songs, about the sales of the items. We were happy to play good music, to play rock and roll, to play real metal with a real spirit. But we didn't care about the money and all the business. We were just crazy metalheads. That's all. And that's all. Actually, everything is only business, business, business nowadays. It's a bit, a bit difficult for me. I don't want to think about it. I prefer to keep the whole tradition alive.
Absolutely. But this is actually kind of where I wanted to go with you is
Yeah,
that one thing I've noticed with you, at least in like all of the projects and everything that you've kind of had going on, whether it's with Slaughter Messiah,
yeah,
and all the other stuff you've got. I feel like you've kind of been one of those guys that's managed to maintain that authenticity. I mean, even the fact that you're still like
exactly.
going to shows, going to local shows and then supporting that kind of thing and actually being
Yeah,
deeply involved in the scene. I love to see that, man. I think that that's absolutely tremendous. So good for you.
yeah, yeah. It's exactly that's all. That's all we met in December in here in Germany.
Mm.
I was really happy to have seen with that show only three bands. Not big venue. The like it was back in the early '90s for black metal shows. It was exactly like this. It's like this that I've seen up to the first time with Sadistic Execution and with Imperial Nazarene. It's like
Mhm.
this I've seen Ancient too in a not big venue, but small venue with only people who living their passion. And the atmosphere of the show that day, the 4th of December, when we met, was absolutely great. It reminded me 94, 95, the the way to be the real metal feeling. Exactly.
Absolutely. You know what? That actually it means a lot to hear that. And for the record, also I want to give credit to all of the guys in Apsu and also Ancient as
Yeah,
well,
me too, me too.
for being
My
phenomenal,
greeting,
just being
my
super down
greeting
to
to
earth.
us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And for still like carrying what they carry all these years in, man. It was such a pleasure to share the road with them. But I think, for us as well, I really
Yeah,
appreciate hearing that because for me, obviously, when I grew up, even seeing one live show in Iran was a dream. That's just seeing a live show, never mind
yeah,
playing it and then getting to actually tour Europe and play all these festivals and get signed to Osmos and all that. But like,
yeah,
um, it I think for us, we kind of when we were in our basement and then when we were playing those riffs and then when we were doing these rehearsals, bearing in mind this was also like extremely dangerous. But like I think
okay.
for us, we weren't even like thinking about it. We were just doing it for the metal. And I feel like in a way, even though we're from a different background, we very much still have that essence in common. So for me, it's reassuring to hear the feedback that you have that, oh, it felt like a gig in the 90s, and you still had the right atmosphere. And I also have to say as well, the crowd in Trier were phenomenal as well, like really one of the best German
Yeah.
crowds I think we had on that tour.
Oh, the best evening I spent last year, yeah, for sure. And it should be
I
more
love to hear that.
often that we had to have this kind of tour. Here in Belgium, luckily, we have a good venue in Namur, Namen, my city. Yeah, I live in the suburb of Namur, in the countryside. I won't live in the city centrum, anymore. But we have a very good scene, underground scene there, and we have a venue called Le Belvédère, and it's
Mhm.
always amazing to see gigs there. Most of the tour are passing by this venue. It is the same atmosphere and feeling that we had for December in here. It should be more often like this. And not that I don't like to go to festival, but only underground festivals. I don't like those big business festival like Grass Pop, like Elfest. That's all bullshit. I hate it.
Yeah, it's a tricky one now as well because if you're in a band, it helps you to kind of play those. But I also understand totally from what you're saying that, if you're a connoisseur or just like a fan of the genre, maybe just doing something on the ground, maybe doing something where people are genuinely like not only working hard for it, but also a lot of promoters, they're genuinely like risking their livelihood doing what they do. And most people don't really pay attention to that part, and I always try and bring a bit of light to that on this podcast is that these promoters are really working their asses off, and
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
had the
yeah,
pleasure of
yeah, yeah.
having a few of them on the podcast as well,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And when you go to a festival like El Festo, for example, there's absolutely maybe 2-3% of real metalheads. All the rest of the crowd are tourists, like people who go to Disneyland. They have nothing to do with metal. That's the problem, you know. But in the underground festival, like We Still Ave, like Chaos Descent Festival, like Dead That's Rock, like Steel Fest in Finland, there is only real metal heads, you know. And there is much more interested to play in that kind of things, you know.
For sure. What would you say that to you personally is maybe some kind of bands and artists that kind of stand out in the more recent years where you feel like, okay, this is nostalgic, or not nostalgic so much, but like this invokes a similar feeling of like what I had 30 years ago.
When you mean about the newcomers band or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or also bands that are still going, because there's a lot of bands from those days that are still going, but don't necessarily carry the same spirit as well, you know?
yeah, it's, yeah, there is a lot of new bands, you know. I mean, emerging bands, new bands which have the old feeling. There's a plenty of one, but I cannot name like this, you know. But for example, in that's a rock, I've seen Sadistic Goat Messiah, which is a new fucking killer black thrash metal band. I really enjoy their show, you know. I discover a plenty of newcomers band that got the feeling and that I like very much. I still collection a lot of. I still buy a lot of demo, a lot of EPs, a lot of vinyl, and I support totally the new generation as much as the whole generation bands who come back. You know?
Well, that's awesome, man. This is exactly the thing I was talking about earlier. You know, I really like seeing that. Um, so what have you kind of been working on more so recently? You know, because I know you just did the show as Sabathan with Sarcophago, I think, and our good friends in Adorier also in Belgium. How was that?
Yeah, it was awesome because first, it's long time I didn't see my friends from Adorier. I
Yeah.
know the guys and Melissa since I think it's the
Shout out to
20.
Melissa and the guys. Yep.
Yeah, the singer Melissa. I know her and the other guys of the band since the year 2000 because in 2000 we did a tour together, Adorior, Enthroned, and Gospel of the Wards. We did a few dates in together, and I know the guys since that time. And it was great to share the stage back with them after so many years, and to see that they didn't change at all, and they still have the fucking guts to play fucking violent metal. They fucking kick it ass on stage, and I recommend you absolutely the new album. You know, fucking new album, which is fucking great.
I have the
Also,
vinyl right here, man. I've already got it.
I have the
Yeah.
vinyl too, but I rebought it on CD because I
Yeah.
like to have both format, you know.
That's cool. That's cool. They actually recorded that at the same studio that we recorded the Great Satan with Trivex with our friend
Oh,
Greg Chandler from Esoteric. Great place, by the way.
great. So I send my greetings to them again. I hope we will have the chance to share the stage again together with Slaughter Messiah because here, this time what with Sabathan, the project that I do the whole Enthroned. And
Mhm.
now with Slaughter Messiah, we prepared a new album. We are busy to record it. The drums
Oh,
are
cool.
already done. The drums are already done, but we will spread the recording for all the summer to have the time between our job to do everything fine, you know. And Sarcophago was great too, even if I don't know the guys. And they were really cool. Honestly, they did a great show. But I already seen them last year in Steel Fest in Finland. And it's there the first time I've seen them live. They were amazing, simply.
Yeah.
We talked together. I talked with the guys. There was one guy of Mutilator inside. I think the drummer, Armando.
Oh, yeah.
So he's also the drummer of Mutilator. We had a chat together. Really cool guys, you know, really great. Abysmal Lord was absolutely amazing. Great guys from
Oh,
New.
yeah. Oh, great band. Yeah, we saw them in Barcelona at Winds of Agony. They fucking crushed it, like,
Yeah,
really cool.
I love those kind of brutal fucking war like black
Yeah.
metal, you know, punch in the face. That's all. That's the way to be, you know. That the really whole feeling. Caveman Cult were a really great band too. And I've seen those two bands together the day after the show in Namur, in my city, in a really small club, in a basement, which was really fantastic atmosphere for that kind of band.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah, Caveman Cult absolutely kill it as well. Obviously, mostly the same
Yeah,
guys. So that's awesome, man. I just kind of want to come back to this as well because you confirmed that obviously with Slaughter Messiah you are doing a new album as well, and you guys
yeah.
technically, I mean, the band is very well established, but you technically only have one full length album, right?
Exactly, because we have a plenty of show to play after there were the COVID. The problem is the first album has been released 2 weeks before the first lockdown.
It was in
And
2020 when it came out, didn't it? Yeah. Curse
exactly,
to the Pyre.
exactly. After this, we had stopped to be rehearsing before a few months because we could not see each others because of all the fucking
Mm.
stupid law of the COVID. You remember all the things happened back at the time. And
Don't get it started.
yeah, yeah. After this, when the scene and when the show could be back normally, we start to have a lot of plenty of show to play everywhere, making a tour with Avrukruunu from Finland. We were very busy, and plus we in the meantime we have recorded the first High News album, my other project, black metal project, with a drummer of Possession. That has been very busy
Oh,
time. That's
cool.
why we took plenty of time, and also we changed the lineup. There's a kid, Thomas, left the band because he went to live in Spain, and now he play in Balmog, and we had to find a replacement guitarist for him, and that's why we took a lot of time to work on the new material because we were not happy about the first material we wrote during the time. So we redo everything again, and now finally we are happy with the new songs. But in the meanwhile, we record one EP with one new song and some re-recorded demo material.
Mm. That's tremendous, man. If I can give my humble advice, man, get that album recorded as soon as possible. Because if you don't, that material is gonna keep changing. You
What,
know?
what is great with these new materials that's much more violent than the first album. I'm very
Awesome.
proud of it. I was already proud of the first album, Curse to the Pyre, because it's all I wanted to have for a first album. And now I have everything for the second album. Uh, it's absolutely pure, brutal, black thrash mellow with a really 80s vibe, with a lot of solo, with the really crazy.
Yes.
We, you were the kind of solo King, something really I wanted to have in Solar Messiah. So everything is I'm so very happy so very glad of the new stuff, of the new material. So now I keep you the surprise because it will be not released before next year because the files and the queue are really long in the factory plans for vinyls. That's why everything will be finished to record around September, October. After this, we have the mix and the mastering, and but for next year, a bomb will be unleashed.
Fuck yeah, man. There we go. We heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. That's exciting, man. Um, uh, yeah, and I like the Messiah stuff because to me it's kind of like it's one of those cases of where it's very intentionally encapsulating that old school but also ferocious spirit, of like as you said, like I mentioned, like playing in a fucking like cave or something, you got like a beer, sweat, and fucking leather jackets, and everyone's just fucking losing their minds.
That's exactly the definition, and that's exactly the meaning of Slower Messiah. Even if the two guitarists are young guys which are born in the 80s, they have that feeling of the metalheads of the 80s, and that's important. The drummer, John Berry, is an old timer in the scene like me, so there is nothing to prove with him. And
Yeah.
he's also the drummer of Nocturnal and Ancient Rites. So
Yep.
we are still keeping the flame alive and burning.
I love to hear that, man. Speaking of keeping the flame alive and burning, I don't mind if you would mind maybe reflecting a little bit on I guess your whole journey with Cernunnos, the obviously the original drummer that obviously you kind of started everything with, you know, because it's a very tragic thing. Obviously, he was extremely young when he sadly passed away. But I see you as a guy who's very much you have a very good, positive, and constructive energy, and you're all about moving forward. You know, so that that begs the question, you know, so like how do you personally kind of reflect on that time, you know, and obviously what happened?
Yeah, fine. It was a hard time for me to have lose him, because he was a friend since the school in the early 80s, We started making tape trading together. We starting to listen metal together with bands like Metallica, Slayer, Venom, Merciful Fate, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Motorhead. And it was a school friend at the beginning before we starting to play music together. So and it was more than a musician for me. It was a real close friend, like a brother. And his tragic death in '97 was something really hard to live for me. And I'm still marked about it.
Yeah, I can completely appreciate that, man, and especially, you know, when you start a journey with someone at such a young age, and then when you go through this together, that person ends up also, I guess, for lack of a better term, just defining a lot of what that journey means, you know, even if you then carry on doing it later on.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So we're still keeping. That's why I'm happy to have the Sabathan project to still keep alive what we did together and
Mm.
playing those playing this material. It's absolutely. I have goosebumps every time. I have shivers every time I play, and that's why I want to do it until the end of my life to continue playing the old and short material in the memory of certain roles because it's something we construct together.
Mm. That's beautiful, man, and what a great tribute as well. What a great tribute.
I
Yeah.
will do it until the end of my life because the best tribute I can pay to him to still continue keeping the flame alive of what we did together back in the days.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and I think you know what, you can. This is just one of those things in life. You can completely spend all the time and the focus of the energy in the world thinking, "What if? Should have? Could I have? What if?" And all of that, and that ultimately doesn't really get you anywhere. And I think what better way to move forward, but move forward with such a beautiful intent of at least celebrating the magic that the both of you created together, especially at such a young age as well, man. I think that's fantastic. Really glad you're doing that.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your words, man. Thank you very much. For example, the gig with Sarcophago was if you could have said to me 30 years ago or back in the end of the 80s, well, one day you will play with Sarcophago. I could never believe it. And it has happened
Mhm.
recently. And well, fine, thanks for it. I'm a big fan of Sarcophago, the early stuff, like everybody. And
Yeah.
I could have the chance to share the stage with them. That's awesome. You know,
When you put it like that, especially with the 3 decade gap, that is actually very special, man. Fuck it. That's awesome, man.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's all I feel. That's all I feel.
For sure, absolutely. So, have there been any kind of situations? Because obviously you've done this for a long time, man. You know, and we all, I think the true ones. There's one distinction between us. I remember my friend put this to me brilliantly. You know, like there are people who become artists, and then some people kind of start to take themselves too seriously and become rock stars. But the true artists, the truest of true artists in metal, are always first and foremost a fan at heart.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
So
And that's what I like with the old artists, like the guys of Iron Maiden, like the guys of like Ozzy Osbourne. They were true, really dedicated artists. Even if they became rich and famous, they still had this keeping the feeling of playing heavy metal, and they had the same feeling.
I agree. I agree for sure. Ozzy was someone if you watched him, you could
Yeah,
tell he fucking loved what he did, man. It was powerful.
exactly.
Yeah.
his death soon will be 1 year. He's gone,
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. But his death marked me particularly too because he's one of my really first idol, totally.
Oh yeah.
Because my very first idol was Ozzy Osbourne when I discovered Black Sabbath with Paranoid album. Yeah, it has been hurting too. And
Yeah.
the guy was still keeping the flame alive and keeping the force to play his last show 1 year ago. Remember the back to the beginning. He was totally ruined inside the health. I mean, the big health problems. But he did it anyway. He did it till the end,
Yeah.
and we have
Man,
a total respect for it.
like I've never seen a human being have a more honorable death than Ozzy
Exactly.
because like we were there first of all, like we were me and all of the Tribex guys, we managed to get in somehow. We magically got tickets. I don't know how, like the universe was like, yes, you three are meant to go. So um and
If I could do it, I would do it. But I had not the money because it was really
yeah,
expensive to go there.
it was to be fair, but like it's honestly zero regrets. And man,
No, no,
I
yeah.
rem we were there, and to me as well, I love Ozzy. I am personally more of a fan of Sabbath just because it's Sabbath. But there was
Of course,
something that happened, like when they kind of brought him on stage and he started the set, because the whole day, you have to understand, it wasn't like, oh, it was guaranteed that he was going to be there. The whole day, we're like,
I remember.
well,
Yeah,
there's a lot of great bands. He might not actually make it to the show because of his condition, and me and the guys, we kept saying to each other, look, there's all these great bands here. I mean, we're seeing Slayer, Metallica, Pantera, and all that. So like, you can't really complain about that, right?
yeah,
I think that
exactly.
was kind of maybe actually the logic behind how they conducted that evening. But honestly, the moment they dragged Ozzy on stage, like everyone was just in tears, and not
Yeah,
because it was it wasn't like a sad or a dark low thing. No, people were crying because we were watching a guy who absolutely fucking loved what he did for
exactly.
over
Totally
50
agree.
years, do it one last time and fight against all odds to make it happen. And we were all just cheering for him, man. It was a fucking special thing. I get goosebumps and chills just remembering it, to be honest.
I watch I watch the complete show on the TV. It was I didn't miss anything, and I've seen exactly what you described here. It was
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. Yeah. It was absolutely stunning. And I still
Yeah.
have the recording of it. So yeah, I will probably watching again for the this weekend for the first anniversary year. I think it
Yeah.
was the 5th of July, if I remember well. Yeah, back in the day.
I think, yeah, maybe 5th or 6th of July. What was funny was that
Yeah, yeah.
we played in Birmingham as Trivex the night before it happened. And
Wow, great.
yeah, yeah, we played in Birmingham, and it was like one of our best shows, I think, because we played, like, we had an hour because we were like the last band on, and the venue was absolutely rammed, and also, like, not just Sabbath fans, like there was people that like actually knew us and came specifically for that. But which we didn't really expect that, and it was like surreal actually. But yeah, we did the show the day before. I think it was like the 5th of July, something like that. And but yeah, man, look, it was a special evening, and I can't think about the last time. Like, you think about it. When was the last time you remember someone basically not just retiring, but saying goodbye to the entire world on a stage
Exactly.
with millions watching? Who's done that at such a scale?
Yeah,
No one.
I felt
Only Ozzy.
exactly the same. Yeah, 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 I felt exactly the same. And I had tears too. I was about to cry when I've seen him on stage, on the
Yeah.
TV like this, because I watched the complete show on the TV. It was absolutely stunning. That's why I want to watch everything again for the first anniversary year.
Hmm. I might do it. I'm scared to watch the video because I haven't watched any of the videos, and the only reason is, it's like the same as when you play a gig yourself, and then someone shows you the video, and then you remember the gig as the video, not the first-hand vision, because you rewrite the memory of it. I don't want to rewrite the memory of it through the scope of the cameras. I want to
Yeah, I
remember it
understand.
from where I was stood in the crowd. Does that make sense? It's just one of those things.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So my cat is here.
Is it? There we go. Please say hello from me.
Yeah, that's why I'm a bit disturbed by the. Sorry, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Back to you now.
Yeah, no, that's okay, man. My cat did exactly the same thing. Normally, she's quite well behaved and just comes and sits down, but today I think she was feeling like she wanted to be in the camera. So there we go.
The same with mine, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. This is one of the things as well. Like to me, I mean, you're wearing the death top there, and I think that's kind of like a perfect example of it. I feel like we as metalheads, like you can explore the dark side of nature, and you can get into the dark side of whether it is like spirituality, religion, occult, well, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like, I think it's important for us to explore the shadow self, but I also at this moment in life can look at it and say that doesn't mean you have to be a fucking asshole, you know and it,
Exactly.
yeah.
No, I don't like people who act like assholes because you are into the dark side role, because it's something I live totally spiritually myself. You know, that's my way to be, and I'm like this since my childhood. So I've always been attracted by the dark side, by the dark things, by everything about it. I watch um, horror and fantastic movies since I'm a child, and I've always been attracted by this kind of things. You know, so
Absolutely. How did you kind of get into that, in fact, if you don't mind me asking?
just by at the time back in the 70s, because I'm born in 70, when I end of the 70s, early 80s, you had often fantastic and horror movies passing by the TV, being broadcasted on the TV, and they're just by pure, how to say, for,
Coincidence.
yeah, that I discover it by the pure hazard, random like this, watching the TV and say, wow, this is cool. What is it? And it's all I enter inside those kind of things. Music has been the same. I have a older brother who used to listen the Beatles and Pink Floyd, and the first time I heard an album like Dark Side of the Moon from Pink Floyd, I understood what was darkness inside music, because this album is very dark, and
Mm.
and after this, I discovered Black Sabbath in this vinyl collection. He had a Paranoid album, and the first album. Oh, what is it? I have to listen to that. I was a child. I was a child again. It was at the end of the 70s, and that's all I enter into that kind of uh, spirituality inside of
Yeah.
music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I like the example of Paranoid as well, because it's just such a weird and kind of obscure album cover as well. And obviously back
Yeah,
then it's different. That album is the only visuals you're gonna get alongside the music, which I think is kind of like we kind of lost the magic a little bit by like adding too much else next to it. I feel like, but I feel like you kind of had a bit of a advantage, especially as a child or like a young person discovering that. Well, all you can look at is like
yeah,
the photos of the band or like whatever weird album cover they had and the lyrics. That changes your perspective completely.
exactly. And I directly make the connection with the horror movie I used to watch on the TV. But this is the soundtrack of the movie I watch. Uh, like the Edgar Allan Poe movie, by example, or Stephen King's movie. I
Mhm.
used to watch a kind of series, you say,
Okay.
uh, with all that kind of things back in the days, and this is stunning. It's really what I want to do. It's really what I like, and that's all things has gone for me.
Absolutely. And there's some great stuff. I mean, I've always been a fan of horror as well, you know. I mean, I even like in kindergarten used to draw pictures of monsters, you know, and I don't know
Yeah,
why. I didn't even see any horror films yet, you know, but as the years come, you know, like you go back and there's some like really tremendously good like horror films that are just done such in such a tasteful way, you know, whether it's like any of like the Bela Lugosi Draculas or even like some
exactly.
films
Yeah,
like you know, Hawks on, or even with like I don't know if you remember The Devil Rides Out with Christopher Lee.
yeah,
That was a good one as
exactly.
well. Yeah.
And also Mask of the Red Death,
Yes.
uh, and Mask of the how all those I don't remember the name. I have everything in my collection here. You know, also black and white movie. You remember from the 60s, totally gothic style.
Oh
Night of
yeah.
the Demon. Do you remember that movie, Night of the Demon?
Oh yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I only watched it
yeah.
once back in like 2013, but
Yeah,
yes.
there are some cuts part of that movie which have been used by King Diamond Sleepless Night video clip.
Oh yes. Yeah, you're
You
right
remember?
about that.
Yeah,
I said
that's the kind that was my really first the horror fantastic gothic movie that I used to watch and will make me enter into dark art, dark and black satanic and evil kind of music.
Mhm.
This mixed with Black Sabbath first album and really dark avant-gardist music like Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, or Pink Floyd, Sid Barrett times, kind of more psychedelic, of course, but so dark too, you know. And that's all I enter inside that kind of art, you know. I have to thank my older brother for this because it was all his collection.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And
You
the
have to
thing is
know,
like
you have to know that I'm the youngest son of the family, and my whole older brother now is 71. And when I was a child, he had all those all that fucking vinyl collection that I had access to, you know. And that's all I have to thank him for it for all those stuff, you know, that he made me discover.
that's awesome, man. What was his thoughts about you kind of going down the path that you ended up going down on?
What, please?
So, because you then obviously, yeah, you discovered that stuff through him, right? But then you
Yeah,
also ended up basically pursuing this as like a as a lifestyle completely
of course,
for the
yeah,
rest of your
totally,
life.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so what's his
totally.
thoughts on that? Has he been supportive of the bands and the stuff that you've got going on?
Yeah, yeah, because after this, I was, of course, I entered the school. The more after elementary school, I passed to the secondary school, you know, and there I met friends with ACDC T-shirt, Iron Maiden, Motorhead, and so and start to be friends with those guys, you know. I was go, well, let's trade some tapes together, let's record something. That all the things goes back in the days, you know. So that's cool. What's your band? What's the band you listen right now? Your Walkman tape player. Oh no, I listen Motorhead. Do you want a copy of my tape? Yes, okay, you can do it. And all the things. That's all I started trading tapes with friends at school and discovering heavy metal, speed metal, thrash metal, and black metal. And
Mhm.
the one who made me discover Venom was Dan Cernunos, you know.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, he taped me Welcome to Hell album from one side, and on the other side it was Merciful Fate, hippie, you know, nuns have no fun, you know.
Oh, perfect. Fucking
What
perfect.
you recorded to me yesterday, it's a fucking awesome. I want to buy the vinyls, you know, and that's all the things that started for me, you know.
Hmm. That's brilliant, man. What a
Only
special time in
simply
music.
like simply like the things goes for many people of my generation, you know.
When you say it like that, sure, sure. So like the
Yeah,
ghost of the people of your generation, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Because ghost, they are at that level now. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I'm hoping. I've said this before. You know, like you can. you can give a band like them, if you can call them a band, obviously, because it's like it's a giant thing now, And Tobias, by the way, I've met him a number of times. He's a super nice guy, very friendly, and I think he absolutely deserves the success. But I also do think that I'm not so much against people discovering this music through them, because I have faith that maybe not everyone, but let's say like a 14-year-old who hears Ghost on, I don't know, like on like Spotify or something. I hope that 14-year-old
Yeah,
might possibly then make their way down to Blasphemy and Beherit and Bathory at some point down the line. Because I think that happens. I think that does happen. And I think it's down to us to make
probably.
sure that we kind of keep this culture together. So when these newcomers kind
Exactly.
of start tuning in, they can at least get some understanding of our values and standards. Because I feel like that's kind of that to me, by the way, because I know there are people who are very young who listen to this podcast. Obviously, the demographic is mostly people from like 30s to like 60s, which is fine.
Exactly.
That's great. But I also know that amongst that, then there are like the 16, 17-year-olds as well, which they're old enough, they're responsible enough for themselves. They can tell for themselves. And I think it's good to have those kind of people tune into maybe a conversation like this, where they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, so it's all about maintaining that spirit of the old and then moving forward with that instead of what's the latest TikTok trend.
Exactly. And there will always have people who will carry on the flame. I think it will never stop. Even the young generation, I can see it when I go to an underground festival, I can see many young kids uh, really having the real mentality and the real vibe for underground music and dark music.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, bro, that's how it was for me as well. Back home in Iran, I started off just by hearing like Metallica, and but that was enough. That was enough. And once I heard that, I was like, fucking game over, man. 6 months later, I was already playing guitar and writing my own songs, and also simultaneously getting into black metal. So I was just like, yep, that's it. There we go. Never looked back.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's all the thing goes. So
Absolutely, man. I've got a question for you, and I hope you don't mind me asking this. And this is just from the point of my own curiosity, so like you can probably already see where I'm going with this. But you did this very interesting film, shall we call it, back in the, I think, early 2000s or something, whenever it was, 2002, I think,
yeah,
called Falucifer, which I'm
I
sure
was sure
people are
about.
familiar with. um
Yeah.
how do you reflect on that? Do you like, was it just like a fun thing? Do you kind of wish you hadn't done it, or do you stand by the fact that you did it? I'm just so curious to hear your thoughts reflecting on that.
So at that time, I was young and I was really crazy, and it was just a weird idea in my head who would take birth to wanted to know what is it to do a kind of film like this. And I did it because I wanted just to know how it works to do it. It was just pure curiosity, nothing
Yeah.
else. My no, I could have regrets to have done it, but no, I have no regrets at all. Finally, rock and roll, it's a part of rock and roll, so it was just pure curiosity. Oh, I would be curious to do a thing like this to know how it goes and how it works. And I got the proposals and I did it, but it was something to explore for me, because I like to explore the unknown. And it was just an exploration, if I can say it like that, if you know what I mean, if I use
Mhm.
the right word, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, of course, man. Look, I think your answer is great, actually. That's a
Yeah,
very good response. Um,
it was
because at the time as
I
well,
was just
this,
yeah, I was just curious. I was just curious about. It
yeah.
was nothing else than curiosity.
Yeah. Because at the time as well, people have to understand, this is I think this must have been kind of like when internet was still kind of new-ish. So
Exactly.
this caused quite the stir in the scene. I think a lot a lot of people were like, talking about that. So how did you navigate kind of that part of it? Were you just got kind of like the same attitude as now? It's like, hey, look, I just wanted to kind of see what happens.
A lot of people have load about me about this and say that I'm stupid and blah blah blah. Okay, but man, I wanted to try an experience. I wanted to. It was my curiosity will lead me to make this, and the one who never tried anything, you know what I mean. Never get anything. That's all.
Yeah. No, you know
But
what? You're absolutely right. There was nothing else like it at the time.
I
Absolutely.
will never. I will never renew the experience. It will never happen. But I know I no it has woke up my curiosity simply.
There we go, man. There we go. No,
Yeah,
I
was it
appreciate.
that yeah, and there is nothing to do with. It's not there because of that kind of shit that I will change and I will never change there.
Mm.
I will still myself, and I am myself, and I will still myself until the end of my life.
I don't know anyone could listen to that and not respect that approach, man. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
do you have any so just as we kind of bring this to a bit of a home run, any upcoming projects, anything that you kind of want people to keep an eye out for that you have coming up?
Yeah, but of course, the new Slaughter Messiah. This is
Yeah.
something that I'm really pending for. You know, as well the new album of Iblis, my project, my whole black metal project. We have one album already. We have released one album in 2022. It was released October 2022. No, we already all the song for the second album, but we still didn't have the time to rehearse together to record it. And it will
Mm.
come after the news. It will come after the Slaughter Messiah recording.
Yeah.
And of course, I would like starting to work on a few new songs for Sabathan. But this will be next year, I think, that I will start working on it because I have a very completely busy year this year with the new Slaughter and the new Heinous album.
Fantastic, man. Sounds like you have a lot going on. So all this stuff, all your projects and everything, what's gonna happen, that's gonna be link in the description, in the
Yeah,
support our guest section. People can go and check that out for themselves. I recommend them to do that. And
yeah.
listen, Sabaton, my man, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been such a pleasure to speak to you today. And I love the attitude, love the fact that you're still keeping the underground spirit alive so many years into it, and also I love how down to earth you are, still supporting shows, and also
Yeah.
supporting basically everything to do with this music, man, and long may it continue.
Man, it's my life. I cannot live without it, you know. And,
Mhm.
it was so great to have met you in Krieg, Cheyenne. You remember Dario's show was great too, absolutely brilliant. Three fucking bands together. The kind of show we miss, and it should be more often that we have the tour package like this, like you guys with Triviax, Ancient, and Apsu. I hope to see a package like this again on tour.
I
We have
Me
a
too,
chance.
me
We have
too,
a
for
chance
selfish
here.
reasons, yes.
We have a chance here to have in Namur from that kind of package. But I hope you guys will play in my city one day too. You know.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. We are working on a new album right now as well. I think soon enough. Maybe something next year. Maybe we can talk. Maybe let's talk off the
Yeah,
camera. Yeah.
that will be awesome to share the stage with you guys.
Yeah.
That would be something awesome, you know.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, let's talk about it. Anyway, let's wrap this one up. Thank you so much for your time, man. And to everyone
You're
listening to the
welcome.
podcast, hope you guys enjoy this one. Support the fuck out of Slaughter Messiah, Sabaton, and we will see you on the next episode of Iblis Manifestations.
All right.
Welcome to Iblis Manifestations.